going to view our mason jar that we set out this morning, and we can see that it looks a little different. So in your science journal, I want you to draw what you see is happening there. And you'll notice that I put some keywords on the board. So if you're able to see that in your jar, please go ahead and label that as well. And your drawings don't have to be perfect.
So, do I put the start?
No,
Let's see.
just what you see right now. What's happening. So as you're drawing your observations, I will just remind you that the Earth's surface is covered in 71% water. Now, only a very small amount of that is accessible to us as drinking water, but this is really important because it is a part of the water cycle. And I'll know you're finished when you just lay your pencil. You're done already? Okay. So, what are some things that you noticed in your jar? What was different about it than this morning?
There's precipitation and vapor around the sides.
Yeah, for sure, there is. You've got some good vapor. You've got some big water droplets forming on the top in here. So this is really review, but it may have been a while since we've talked about it. The water cycle is simply a big name for the movement of water. So it starts in the ocean or any other big water, and the sun heats it. So our heat lamp, like on the jar, heats it up, and the water begins to rise as steam or water vapor. So you can label that on your jar where you see, oh, you already have water vapor labeled. Oh my goodness. Good, so water vapor or steam. So it's kind of that fuzzy stuff. Then as it cools down, the water condenses and turns into clouds. Well, we're not going to get clouds in our jar, but you do see the water droplets. You've got some big ones at the top here, and that's what clouds are made of. They're made up of water droplets or condensation.
Oh, I did label that wrong.
So as the water keeps collecting in the clouds, and the water becomes heavier and heavier, it rains, which is precipitation. So you may see some of your drops moving back down, and that would be kind of your precipitation. See, this one's kind of rolling. Do you see it here where it kind of rolled down?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be your precipitation. So as you can see, it goes back into the ground or to a lake, which then eventually makes its way back to a large body of water, and then the process starts over again. So the water cycle is a big name for what? The movement.
Of water.
Yes, movement of water. It moves. So if we're thinking about this, this helps us to understand how it rains. But how does the rain go from just plain old precipitation to a thunderstorm? So we're going to watch a video about it's just a thunderstorm happening. There's no information. Oh, hold on, just give it a second. Got some basketball ads happening. Okay, so we're going to watch this for a few minutes. I want you to think about what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and then we'll talk about it. Can you see that? I mean, I know you know what a thunderstorm looks like. there's a specific formation of the way the cloud shapes that I was trying to catch, but I don't think I'll be able to pause it the way I want to. All right, if we had more than one person, I'd have you discuss with your group what you saw. But we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna give you, do you need a few seconds to think about what you saw and heard and observed? So we're gonna create what's called a cluster chart. In the middle, you can either just write thunderstorm or you can draw a little quick thunderstorm. It's totally up to you. I'm just gonna make a little quick sketch. But it kinda needs to be circular in nature. So what do you think? What are some elements, some traits that we need? What are some things that need to be happening for it to be a thunderstorm?
Your clouds have to be closer to the ground.
Clouds were close to the ground, okay. So I'm gonna put clouds, because we might notice more than one thing about clouds, and then I'm gonna put them close to the ground. Okay, what else?
They were dark.
They were dark, good. Okay,
And they were bigger than like regular clouds.
bigger. All right. Is there anything else that you noticed about thunderstorms? What else do we need for it to be considered a thunderstorm?
Has to thunder and lightning.
So lightning. Which of course means thunder. Okay,
And the precipitation is usually harder. Heavier.
heavier. I'm just gonna write, first I'm gonna put precipitation. And then write heavier. Extending from that. Heavier. All right. Sometimes there's hail. So different types of precipitation at once. All right, that's a pretty good start, unless there's anything else you would like to add. Okay, so I notice sometimes it's windy. It's usually pretty windy. All right. So these are the elements that make up a thunderstorm, just based off of our observation. You heard thunder, you saw lightning, you feel that it's windy, that the rain is heavier, you see that the clouds are closer to the ground and that they're darker. So there's some things that we can just observe without even doing research that we know to be true about thunderstorms. We are going to learn why this happens instead of just rain every single time. So we were going to take, there's some other things that happen that we can't necessarily observe, so we'll just have to research them. You're going to create what's called a thunderstorm ingredient card. And you are going to basically fill out a recipe card that says what has to happen, because these things are a part of a thunderstorm, but there are certain things that have to happen to make these things happen. So I'm going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to research, and then we will create our recipe card. Yes. All right, so you have completed your research. So now you're going to put the essential ingredients for your recipe card. So if you look back at your cluster graph that we created, you can include some of those elements, but what were some specific things that you found in your research?
The clouds be a certain shape.
Okay. It's in anvil
Anvil.
shape. Okay,
You have to warm, moist air. Updraft and downdraft. Water has to rise.
okay.
Lightning and thunder.
Just gonna put lightning. Thunder is the sound of lightning. And was there anything else?
Rain.
Rain. So some kind of precipitation, etc. Okay. So these are some of the key elements. Next time we meet, we are going to create a diagram together with some of these key elements that make up a thunderstorm. So we'll go over more in depth updraft and downdraft for those who don't know. And then we'll also go over why a thunderstorm clouds are shaped in an anvil, because I thought that was pretty interesting. So if there's any other questions that you've had from your research, be sure to write those down, because we'll have more time next time to go over those. So today we reviewed the water cycle. We looked at our mason jar, and we began to figure out what is different about a thunderstorm versus just regular rain.